Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm going to start this video off with this short clip from CNBC. They're talking about the idea of Amazon adding the ability to buy cryptocurrencies, but she touches on a couple other things as they take them out to commercial. Watch this. If I can get it to play. Hold on a second. Refresh button. Here we go.
Steph, we got to jump, but in 10 seconds, can you explain the move in crypto beyond the Amazon rumor?
I think it is just the Amazon rumor, and it's a lot of credible companies that have actually backed crypto, right? So it's not just Amazon, it's PayPal, it's Square, it's Visa, it's JP Morgan. So it's a lot of companies, and full adoption it's on its way.
I agree, full adoption's on its way. Now, today we're still having an interesting market. This market is holding pretty strong at 1.5 trillion. We've got a 13% up Bitcoin. We've got a 10% up Ethereum. We've got a 11% up XRP. Things are looking pretty good. 11% up Cardano. I wanted to show you this. I like to show you every once in a while. This is Coin Paprika that shows you the return rates for 7 days, 30 days, 1 quarter, 1 year, and point out to you that XRP as of today is up 200% this year during a Jay Clayton SEC lawsuit. Okay, so even though we've had a pullback for the last few weeks, 200%. Ask yourself where you could get that return anywhere else. It's not anywhere but crypto. I mean, look at some of these returns. You've got if you just look at, Binance Coin, 1,500%. Hex, which I don't even know what that is. I don't like to count those. Dogcoin, which this is absolutely embarrassing, 6,700%. Okay? All right. So moving along, but anyway, in the last 7 days, XRP is at 18%, 30 days, 10%. It's for the quarter, so this would capture the last few weeks where the whole market got pummeled, minus 52%. So interesting stuff. Now, this was an interview that was brought to my attention by Sean Michael. And so, this is Matt Hamilton, who works for Ripple, but he started as just a member on Twitter and as an XRP enthusiast, I guess. So, but he's a very smart guy, and I think he used to work for IBM. Listen to what he says.
I would say that the XRP ledger is positioned to be kind of like the best blockchain for tokenization, right? Tokenization of assets. Now, as I said, the XRP ledger was the first blockchain to allow tokenization of assets, and there's been things like gold and silver tokenized on the XRP ledger for many years now, euros, US dollars, etc., and other cryptocurrencies. Ethereum is actually tokenized on the XRP ledger. Bitcoin is tokenized on the XRP ledger. So, yes, this is the thing, that the XRP ledger was so far ahead of most of the other blockchains. I mean, the XRP ledger existed before Ethereum did. Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, actually tried to intern at Ripple right in the early days. So the XRP ledger was so far ahead, but I think what has happened is that people are not aware of the functionality with the XRP ledger. As you say, we've had a chance to kind of build it, break it, build it again. And in some ways, I say this in the nicest possible way, but sometimes the XRP ledger is possibly perceived as boring because it just works, right? It hasn't got to deal with a lot of the big dramatic issues that, say, Bitcoin and Ethereum have to do. So Ethereum's moving to proof of stake. That's a massive thing at the moment that's taking up a lot of development time. Bitcoin is building second layer solutions to fix the scaling problem. The XRP ledger hasn't had to deal with any of those issues. So in some regards, it might be seen as like boring to some people just because it works, right? And so sometimes it's a little difficult to kind of say to people, hey, look, we've got all of this. We've been doing all of this. It just works. Right. So, and a lot of times as well, it's to do with terminology, right? The XRP ledger existed, again, before all of these other systems, before a lot of the terminology within the industry existed. So the concept of stable coins and tokenization, the XRP ledger was doing it beforehand, but we called it issued assets, or we called it IOUs. We didn't call it tokens or stable coins. But it's exactly the same thing. Just we created a different terminology, and people are not necessarily aware that it's the same thing. So,
okay, so very interesting, and I'll finish that by saying, quote, proof of work doesn't work. That's a Ryan Zagone, previously of Ripple, quote. Now, I actually came across a video clip today, which is pretty rare. You don't see the Tether executives being interviewed very often, but here, a CNBC journalist, her name is Dee Bosa, actually does her job and is being an actual journalist and asking questions of these guys. And I said here, imagine if Andrew Ross Sorkin or Jim Cramer, CNBC Fast Money, Squawk Box CNBC, imagine them doing the same thing and asking Jay Clayton or William Hinman about their ties to Ethereum in China. Just imagine, which they won't do. Listen to this.
Stuart just said that you guys are backed by reserves. You guys published a pie chart that showed less than 3% of that actually was US dollars. More than 50% of that is commercial paper. I know you guys have said that it's rated A2 or above. Can you give us any more details about what exactly that commercial paper is?
So we don't disclose our commercial partners, so that is quite important. We want to, given our portfolio composition in commercial papers, we believe that is quite important to respect the privacy of the banking partners that we work with. Also, you spoke about trust, and and the fact that volume is not a proxy for trust, but when an asset is not trusted, and Tether is trusted, when an asset is not trusted, it gets sold at any price, and yet Tether holds perfectly the $1 price on all the crypto exchanges. So I believe that it's important to underline how the broader community trusts us. So I wouldn't rely on few. Yeah.
That's fair, but isn't that trust a little bit fragile? You have major people, regulators such as Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen talking about the risks of stablecoin. You've got another Fed President, Rosengren, talking about the dangers of Tether. So is this not an opportunity to come on? I'm not going to ask for names, who exactly is in your reserves of commercial paper, but could you tell us a little bit more information? For example, is any commercial paper held in Chinese companies?
So you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Deirdre, our portfolio contains international commercial paper. As you noted from our public disclosures, it is overwhelmingly rated A2 or better.
Okay, so they wouldn't tell her where the commercial, who the commercial paper is with. But anyway, so then I want to show you something else first. I wanted to show you this. I was asking the question, why don't the CNBC journalists go after Clayton and ask him questions about Ethereum or Hinman the same way that they are going after Tether? They've got Jim Cramer bringing up Tether constantly now, and now that girl is, but they won't say a word to Jay Clayton, and on top of that, they make him a CNBC contributor. I said it kind of reminds me of when he goes to the SEC and has to recuse himself from any cases involving major Wall Street firms he represented. I guess CNBC journalists have to recuse themselves from asking him any questions related to Ripple and Ethereum now. Okay, so once I saw this clip where Tether will not tell you about their commercial paper, it reminded me of a clip with Joseph Lubin and Brad Garlinghouse. So I'll play the first part and then I clipped them together.
Stuart just said that you guys are backed by reserves. You guys published a pie chart that showed less than 3% of that actually was US dollars. More than 50% of that is commercial paper. I know you guys have said that it's rated A2 or above. Can you give us any more details about what exactly that commercial paper is?
So we don't disclose our commercial partners, so that is quite important.
How do you go about managing your treasury within Consensus and your own personal one?
I guess no comment. We personally, in terms of Consensus, we are a small fraction of the Ethereum asset and all the assets on the Ethereum platform, and we manage our treasury like a company would manage its treasury.
The only interjection I have here is I find it interesting that Ripple is attacked for being transparent. Because we are very proactive, and we put actually the next XRP markets report, which we do quarterly, will come out sometime at the end of this week. But because we share that information, then we're attacked for it, yet other platforms don't share that information, and so they are insulated from those same critiques and criticisms. I think in the dictionary that's called hypocrisy. I'm not 100% sure, but it's close.
Is there any plan for greater transparency within Consensus in terms of how it deploys its Ethereum?
Internally, sure. And, you know, we're a private company, and we
Ripple's a private company, too.
Absolutely. And transparency is important to us. But we also have to be strategic about information that we release, and with respect to those sorts of issues, I haven't really thought too much about whether we need to disclose how we pay people, when we pay people, etc. Just stop.
Just a point of note. I went back and I was watching that full interview, and what's interesting about the interview is that Joseph Lubin from Ethereum starts it with Brad Garlinghouse. Brad Garlinghouse was keeping. He didn't get into it with him until, if you go back and watch that interview, Joseph Lubin literally tries to get something going between him and Brad Garlinghouse, and he says so. That's kind of interesting. He comes off as kind of a quiet guy, but he throws in more uhs and ums than anybody I've ever seen, and that's because he's not comfortable with what he's talking about. Okay, just happens back to Tether. This came out today. Breaking news. Tether executives said to face criminal probe into bank fraud. Surprise, surprise. This is a Bloomberg article. Tether execs said to face criminal probe into bank fraud. That is going to be interesting. Now, Tether responded to it. Today, Bloomberg published an article based on unnamed sources and years-old allegations patently designed to generate clicks. This article follows a pattern of repackaging stale claims as news. The continued efforts to discredit Tether will not change our determination to remain leaders in the community. And then they go on a little bit. It says they routinely have an open dialogue with law enforcement, in agencies, including the Justice Department, Okay, we'll see how that ends. Moving along. XRP Bart sent me this one. This is interesting because it makes me think that maybe something good is about to come out of the SEC. This is from the SEC. New Twitter alert. SEC Chair Gary Gensler is on Twitter. Please be sure to follow him. They give you his Twitter feed. Now, this is just me talking, just my opinion, but if I'm Gary Gensler, I can promise you one thing. I would not have wanted to be on Twitter over the last few months as the people in our XRP land were asking questions and making videos and being really angry about the way Jay Clayton handled this lawsuit, and it wouldn't have been a lot of fun for Gary. You have to wonder if Gary Gensler is now about to be the hero, and that's why he's now willing to have his own account, because normally people recoil at the idea of constantly being attacked, and you wouldn't want to open an account like this right now. But that's just me pontificating, talking out loud, whatever you want to call it. Crypto View sent me this. Flare Networks has put out their U.S. Spark Flare U.S. tax treatment. And I said, print this out, take it to your accountant. This is good that Flare is providing this. I'm not an accountant, but show it to yours so you can make an informed decision on how to handle the tax implications of the Spark airdrop. Now, somebody down there was like, why do you keep asking about taxes? Why do you keep asking about Spark taxes? Well, the reason I do that is because I'm a 47-year-old adult, and the tax implications, if you're not focused on them for this kind of stuff, if you're not paying attention and you're not talking to your accountant, then taxes can get you into trouble right quick. That's just an adult thing. which some of you may not care about. I do, and I think a lot of people in my audience do. But I do commend Flare for putting this out, and here's why. Because you can take this, this is Flare's, the tax people that they hired. This is their opinion on how taxes should be treated. You should take this, take it to your accountant, and you should be comfortable, because I'm not an accountant, you should be comfortable, and your accountant should be comfortable with how you approach this when you do your taxes. That's what's important. This gives you one idea. I hope and pray that my accountant says, you know, they are right, and this is exactly how you should handle this. That's what I hope. I don't know for a fact because I'm not an accountant. But what they say here, the gist of what they're saying is they're talking about this dominion and control, and they're talking about scenarios where things could be considered income. It says if the distribution arrangement would be viewed as the recipient entering into a forward arrangement in which they are paying a certain value in exchange for the receipt in the future of the tokens being distributed monthly, the basis would be allocable purchase price under the forward arrangement to each future receipt of 3% of the total tokens, and the dominion and control analysis of an airdrop would no longer be relevant. According to the analysis, the method by which our community members claimed their 15% Spark distribution of Spark would arguably being the key word here, folks, constitute a forward arrangement for the remaining 85%. There are a number of economic factors consistent with the treatment of the initial arrangement itself as a forward arrangement. So the bottom line is this. The summary after having read all of this, for me, this is what I got out of it. But again, I'm not an accountant. Is that they don't feel like you've got to worry about the ordinary income on the first 15 or the 85%. That's what I read out of it. That's not, talk to your accountant, because I'm not one. So take this, and but again, it's good that they provided this, because now you've got something you can go put in your accountant's hand. Speaking of accountants, guess what I did today? I'm making a contribution to my SEP IRA that I have with iTrustCapital, who is one of my sponsors, and I'm a customer of there's 2 times my Roth IRA account and my SEP IRA. So I contributed to my SEP IRA today, and the money should be there anytime now. And I am planning, I think I'm going to buy Algorand inside of this account. I'm looking at Stellar, Algorand. I also like Solana, but Algorand's the one. I'll tell you why I've got Algorand on my mind. I know that Algorand was hatched out of MIT, and we've got all this regulatory uncertainty that's hovering over us. And one of Gary Gensler's best buddies is the guy that created, a professor at MIT that created Algorand. MIT worked on this thing. I find it hard to believe that Algorand would be receiving the crackdown. So I think it's a good play right now. That plus Michael Arrington and Brad Garlinghouse were seen with the Algorand guys at the Bitcoin conference. That plus Michael Arrington had he did an interview this past week, and he made some kind of comment about how Algorand is going to be it's going to be a protocol for, far into the future, and it was a bullish comment anyway. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that I am going to be buying some Algorand in my iTrustCapital account. And I'm doing it because it's either tax-free or tax-deferred. I'm trying to make this the only way I buy crypto until this thing all takes off.